Oswald Chambers speaks about the problem of living in the actual and having a vision of the real. And I think that's largely a big problem for today's believers. I remember when I first became a believer a while ago. I remember I had this sudden vision, you might say, or experience of what is real versus the actual state of life on this planet. And I remember particularly the things I was doing, the things I was saying before that, and the way I felt about things before that. But when I believed, then I had an immediate experience of what I consider to be the real versus the actual world that most of us live in. And so while I still remained in the actual world, and as far as just seeing me and not hearing me, I looked just the same, and so forth. But I do remember the power. I had a lot of power over the way I lived my life and the things I could do in terms of behavior. And a lot of the things I was doing beforehand, I changed immediately, and it was easy. It wasn't hard. Things that I had become that were a habit to me, things that were strong desires and so forth in my being in my life, I was moved to change them, and I changed them quickly and not a problem. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard at all. But now, years later, it's hard. And some of those things have come back to haunt me. And now the struggle is greater. But I still remember how easy it was then. So I have hope that someday before I leave this place, I'll again experience that meeting of the real with the actual. And I'll have the power that I had then. It was a great feeling, a really great feeling, and it actualized, in my life and gave me energy to do things, to accomplish things that I now have to struggle with, or with which I have to struggle. Nobody says that anymore, with which. Anyway, I simply mention that because we live in a society that wants us to show the money. Show me the money. A society that is largely appearances and feelings and things that you can use, cell phones that you can talk on and get on the internet with, various other pieces of equipment that people have in this society, all kinds of stuff, weapons and other things. So I mention that because a lot of people turn to what they call religions and so forth. I simply call it belief or believers. And they turn to believers and they say, yeah, okay, you believe, but let's see it. Let's see what you can do. Let's see a miracle. Let's see this. Let's see that. And most people can't show that. Most people can't demonstrate that. And but of course, in the life of Jesus that we read about in the Scriptures and the Gospels, he demonstrated it numerous times. We can't all the time. And some people would say we can never demonstrate it. I know people who say they've experienced it many times. And I said myself, I've experienced at least once in the beginning, and maybe a few others in between, short things that seemed strong, but nothing so powerful as in the beginning when I first believed. So I'm inclined to think that if I'm speaking to believers, that we need to have hope that we'll have that power again in our lives. And I suspect that the center of that is, or I should say that which facilitates it and makes it happen, probably centers around doing those things that Jesus asked us to do, in the sense of, living the kind of life that he exemplified and wanted us to live. It's kind of a thing of obedience and so forth people talk about. And I think the more that is in your life, the more likely you're going to be able to have some signs and wonders following your life, or at least that's what people call them. So I just believe they're manifestations of what is real versus the actual garbage that we live in day to day, full of all kinds of nonsense and pain and illusion and delusion. So, and the non-believers, well, you're not going to pay much attention to this anyway. As far as you're concerned, it's nothing but a idiotic, stupid belief in what is not real. And that's fine. Think it if you want. It doesn't matter. You can't prove you're right. I can't prove I'm right yet. But we'll see. Anyway, I have hope. I hope you who don't believe have a good hope too. Because the only thing that's going to save you is if they can figure out some kind of way to make this human body live forever and not die. And they're not too close to that, I don't think. Well, that's it for this one. I'll just put this up maybe and let the chips fall.